SMR.
Yes, that we are getting Bears practice in the background of our guy, Mark Grote. Grote's Bears.
Bears, indeed. I am pretty much going to guarantee that you guys are going to get a horn or two during this segment. Let me set some things up for you. First of all, when I drove in to Hallis Hall today, and there's a security guard who lets everybody through, check your ID, make sure you're legit, and then you go through. That's the process every day. And when I pulled in, the security guard said, "Hello, Mr. Grote, good to see you. Are you looking forward to covering a Super Bowl this year?" I said, "Okay, yeah, Bears." So that's the vibe. Yeah.
Please tell me you just replied with Bears.
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 No, I did. I shouldn't have. I should have, Layla, in that situation. I think I was just so thrown off that I was like, "Oh yeah, absolutely. I am definitely looking forward to covering a Super Bowl this season with the Chicago Bears." And now, as you guys can hear, I'm standing outside with the music in the background, and all the rookies are on the field right now, and they have not. There has been zero resistance at this point. Offense has not lined up against defense in any way, shape, or form. Just going through lots of drills right now.
Bears.
Watching Caleb Williams too. We got to see him throw a bunch of floating passes from the end zone about 40 yards to a lineup of wide receivers. That's about the most I could tell you about Caleb Williams in terms of the throw. That it all looked good. It all checked out so far. I should also point out, and you guys have both been out here, there are probably, I would say, close to 60 reporters out here for minicamp this year. And there's always a lot of attention on the Bears, obviously, but that is a monstrous amount. A little bit of national attention out here today, and every single reporter coming out of the woodworks here for day one of rookie camp for the Bears.
I mean that's what we were looking for. I will tell you that we asked for a Matt Eberflus interview earlier on the air, and I said, "What if the Bears just give us Mark Grote with slick backed hair and Dave the Cat costumed as a football?" So that was brought
Yeah.
up. But what were your
Well,
impressions so far of interviews today?
yeah, I mean, I think I'll start with Matt Eberflus, and quite frankly, he hit the whole thing he's got going on. Right, I can't keep up with that with the hair, and he's got the beard, so I'm gonna have to step up my game just a little bit. But Flus specifically said, some of the things that he wants to see, operation of the offense, including adjusting the call. So I liked hearing that right away. Let's start to get that into Caleb Williams' mind. And then the basic types of things like cadence, breaking the huddle, all the kind of rudimentary things at the NFL level. So I thought that was pretty interesting to hear from Matt Eberflus. One other thing, too, that he let us know right away, and I should let our audience know this, too, is that Kareem Amagaji is not practicing today. The Bear, who is expected to be a swing tackle, the kid out of Yale, he had a quad injury that limited him big time last year. And Flus told us that he is pretty much going to miss all of this stuff. He's going to miss the rookie camp. He's going to miss the OTAs. And the idea is that he would be good to go once they get to training camp. So that is the hope for him, but not a great way to start things out here for number 72, Kareem Agaji. As far as Caleb Williams, one of the questions that I asked him was, "What are you looking to accomplish over the next couple of days?" And the first thing he said was, "Well, I'm still getting to know the names of these guys." So it's very basic, and obviously he wants to accomplish some things on the field, and he's not going to get really specific about that. But there's a lot of get to know you out here. Everybody in the world out here knows Caleb Williams, but he's got to get to know some of these guys as well. So I thought that was pretty interesting coming out of his mouth. And then Roma Dunze, too. I think that he is very realistic in that this ain't college, and things are going to be different, and it's going to be harder because people were asking him to, compare what he might be able to do at the NFL level relative to college. And he said, I don't know yet. I don't know, I have not played against any of these guys yet. So as confident as he is, and he, another great session with him today, Rome Odunze very realistic that he's got to learn the NFL game before he could start to tell us how good he's going to be.
I want to go back to Flus for a second with you, Grotes, because we played Caleb and we played Rome, and the overwhelming response from people listening is, "Wow, those kids sound so polished," and they do. When it comes to the head coach of the Bears, is there? I guess the word that I'm looking for is, do you see any signs of relief now from Matt Eberflus, that there's a level of comfort and confidence coming from him now that all of the other stuff, like the rebuild part of the Bears, is over, and now he doesn't have to answer questions about who's quarterbacking the Bears. We all know who's quarterbacking the Bears. Does he seem like he's in more of a stable place now as the Bears head coach?
Yes. I mean, it's very noticeable. If you look on my Instagram, that's where I'm doing my reporting right now, folks. So check me out on Instagram, Mark_Grote. I got a bunch of stuff up there, and eventually I will have some pictures that I will post from live action out here at practice that you'll get to see on my Instagram account. But I have Flus coming in, and you'll notice that there is a coolness to his demeanor, a little bit more relaxed than he was when he first came in. It was all just hits and all that. He's still Flus. I mean, there's still a lot of just the grindy coachy kind of stuff, but he's got better presence of mind in terms of listening to the questions and answering them. And we're not going to be fulfilled by everything that he says, but yeah, to your point, Lawrence, absolutely feels more comfortable. And another thing too, I thought one of the questions that he was asked was, hey, this is the first. It's not just Ryan Poles who has, quote unquote, his quarterback for the first time. Matt Eberflus does too. I mean, he inherited Justin Fields, and it feels like, okay, this is truly our guy, and it feels like a fresh start for everybody, not just the rookies we're watching on the field right now out here in Lake Forest.
Lawrence and I were talking about that a little bit, Mark. I know you've done a lot of shows. On the Clock, of course, being the main one since we've gotten to this point. Yeah, we shout out your content. But there is an accepted direction that's been not just communicated, but illustrated in action. And I feel like that's something that we have not had in a while. And Lawrence said that you can point to when Justin Fields was traded. Everybody got their marching orders, and we all seem to be following them. And at least for now, it's a good place to be at. I feel like we can examine what happens after that. But for now, we all know where we're going.
Absolutely. Right. I mean, from when Ryan Poles first took over and the locker room was filled with, quite frankly, filler in a lot of cases, just have to have a 53-man roster, and you're going to break down everything, and it looked completely impossible. That's the word I thought or I used back then, that even though we know what they're doing, do they know what they're doing? And through all of the moves that Ryan Poles has made, the good and the bad, to get the Bears to where they are, they know the exact direction. They're still going to have to, one of the things that Matt Eberflus said in regards to Shane Waldron, who we have not gotten to talk to today, I think we'll eventually get to talk to Shane Waldron, is what can these guys handle? And that's what they're figuring out right now. They have a pretty good idea of what they think Caleb Williams and Rome Odunze can handle, but that's what the process is right now. And there's just not, I don't feel like there's as much mystery with this crop of players as there was last year or a couple of years ago with some of the established veterans that will join these rookies eventually in the OTAs and in the mini camps. You got a pretty good idea of what a lot of the guys, especially on this offense, can do.
You know what's funny? I always wonder about what coaches' philosophies are on stuff like that, where do you want to walk it up to how much a player can handle, or do you want to, like if you're in the weight room, do you want to go till failure and then see how players react to it? Every coach does it differently. I wonder what the Bears think. And there it is. Let's go.
It's here.
There it was.
Yes.
There it was. Congratulations. That's number one. I knew. I was literally starting to sweat. Are they going to blow this horn? I made a guarantee on the Bernstein Holmes and Rahimi show. This needs to happen, and it did.
Were you watching the clock?
No, I was not watching the clock. I'm a little bit distanced from it.
All right, I just
But,
but anyway, back to the question. I always wonder about stuff like that where I feel like with Caleb, I don't know about the other rookies, but Caleb seems like the type of guy is where he might surprise you by like, oh, well, we'll give him this and he'll totally fail at this. And then Caleb's like, no, I already had that kind of figured out that we were going to probably do some of that type of stuff.
Oh, totally, man. Like, he might be Jerron Gilbert and jump out of a pool at some point in time. It's a little something for everybody out there. Here's the thing, too, Lawrence and Layla. Like, one of the things, and you guys having listened to the press conference, the name, like, I feel like the star of this day has been Will Hewitt. Will Hewitt, if you don't know who that is Justin Fields' personal quarterbacks coach, who Matt Eberflus referred to as elite today. And they gave Will, because they had a pretty good idea they were going to draft him, and Caleb had a pretty good idea that the Bears were going to draft him. So unlike in past years, past quarterbacks, they were able to give Will Hewitt some of the information of, in terms of what the Bears are going to be. Very basic concepts. You know, they're not going to give him the whole playbook, but in terms of language, terminology, learning cadence, things like that, Caleb Williams is already ahead of the game in a lot of ways. So I think that that's hugely important to this for the Caleb Williams factor. And yeah, he's gonna push the Bears too. And he's got to maintain a little bit of calm, because he's going to want to do, he's going to want to create. He's going to want to throw the ball down the field. And I will say, one of the first things we saw him doing for maybe the first 5 minutes of the practice, as we all wait for him to actually throw the football, you saw him and Shane Waldron going through the basics, just working in like a little 5-yard space. Again, no defense on or anything like that, but just literally doing the footwork, the basic concepts. You get that stuff nailed down, and then after that, you could start to allow him to create and improvise.
No, I think that's fair. The other piece of this too to me is, how much is it going to be repeat to fully commit to muscle memory and unconsciously be able to know terminology? That to me is as much a point of minicamp as anything, but then also how much they're practicing it afterward.
Absolutely. I mean, one of the legit concerns about Caleb Williams is the fact that, well, like Justin Fields, he held on to the ball a little bit too long. That was a different circumstance, because Caleb was able to, and part of the reason was that he would get out and he would create, and it would just be a broken down play and all of that. But having that part down, Layla, the terminology and the basics, the rudimentary stuff, here is your base right here. Here is the way we want you to operate in the pocket. Have that part down, and then you begin to create. And one of the big issues with Justin Fields was, and this is something that I hope that really gets drilled into Caleb Williams, is Justin Fields, once the first option broke down, oftentimes the whole play would break down, and it would not be what you would want it to be. So I think that that's something that they're automatically going to be focusing on with Caleb Williams, and I think he's a little bit more adept at it, at least based on his college work.
Is there anything outside of, Amagaji's hurt, so he's not available, as you pointed out. You've got Caleb and you've got Rome. Is there anything else that you're particularly interested in? Is there a priority free agent that is going to be on the field this week that you're looking at and saying, I wonder if this guy can make the team?
Yes, there is, and it's one of the rookie draft picks. Is a guy that I'm super interested in, and he is an impressive looking guy in terms of his physical attributes. Austin Booker, the defensive end, the 5th round pick, number 94, by the way. Austin Booker, so he coming in, we're hearing that he's raw, and it's going to take some time to develop him. And I know that doesn't sound great, because we heard all that from Dominique Robinson back in the day. But I was talking to Charles Robinson the other night, and he said, or Charles Davis saying straight up, if he had stayed in college another year, this guy would have been a second-round pick next year. I was talking to Hub today, and Hub said that he talked to some people who said that guy would have been a first-round pick. So he's the guy that I've circled. Austin Booker just, and like I said, he hasn't, there's nothing that I could see that he has done out here today except to tell you that he is certainly a legit 6'6". He's got to pack on a few pounds, according to Matt Eberflus. I mean, he specifically mentioned that it's, for him, it's, of course, there's the mental part, but there's a physical part too that he needs to catch up to a little bit. But that's a prospect that I'm really looking forward to following the career of. And then, of course, Torrey Taylor, he's out here booming punts. The leg looks strong, but that's a fascinating pick. We all know that to have taken a punter as early as the Bears did, he's got to be good. He's got to be better than most punters to justify that.
True. I also want to point out this, Mark, that the Beast had Booker graded as a third-round pick. So everybody seems to say that for some reason he ended up falling, but everybody seems to think there's a value there.
Yeah, I mean, and they need that guy opposite of Montez Sweat. I mean, that's the only area from the off season that you could look at and say, maybe they could have done a little bit more, but we know how much work Ryan Poles has put into the defense from his very first draft. When he was taking, Jaquan Brisker and the rest of the defensive guys that he has acquired and taken through the years. So that's certainly a big deal, figuring out that opposite guy. But that's a true part, and we'll see what happens.
You already kind of gave us a snapshot of what it's like, obviously, like for you, that's covering this every day, and the influx of people. It's almost like the cicadas have made their way to Lake Forest when it comes to other reporters. From feedback you're getting on your show, stuff that's going on with you on social, being able to see this up front, security guards telling you to get ready for the Super Bowl, how would you describe what Bearsdom is like now?
I'm amazed with Bearsdom because they should probably be, just because of what they've gone through with this recent crop of highly touted quarterbacks, going from Jay Cutler to Mitchell Trubisky to Justin Fields and now Caleb Williams. They should probably be more cynical. And I would understand that because we're telling them, oh, this is the guy, this is going to be the guy. But they are seemingly, and I wondered this too, what's the Justin Fields pushback going to be? Every time Caleb Williams make a mistake, are the Justin Fields folks going to come out and say, Justin Fields could have done that? I'm not really feeling that. Having hosted last night with Dan Wiederer, we actually opened it up for that type of topic, and it feels like most people at this point are pretty sold on Caleb Williams, even the folks that were the big Justin Fields fans. So I do feel like this is a very optimistic group of Bears fans right now, but this is happy time, as I like to call it. This is when everything is all good. Caleb Williams, I'm sure you guys heard in the press conference talking about his trip to Target and the Sky game and the Cubs game, and everything is all good. It's all smiles. Everybody's willing to talk and all of that. So it is a long way to go. And look, this is a time to be optimistic. I had some people say, this is way too much cheering for the Bears. Look, we have spent the last 3 years during the regular season eviscerating the Bears justifiably. So this is just not, there's no negativity to be told at this point, and I think that's a good thing for the Bears. And by the way, I think, guys, I'm just going to tell you, I think we are now a minute 51 away from another horn.
Okay, so here's the thing. Studs has given us the break sign, but
I knew it.
Is it worth it for us to lay out and get a clean horn?
I don't know. That's up to, Ray Diaz likes to run a tight show. I know.
And
that.
that's Ray's call.
Let's go for it. I need that horn, Grote. I need that horn.
So I need a mark here. Well, how much time is left on the clock, Grote?
Okay, I see on the far clock we're on fields 3 and 4. A minute 20 mark just hit.
All right, good. All right, so
we
can just kind of keep talking, and then we gotta give us like 5 seconds, and then we'll lay out, and then if we hear the horn, it'll be time. That'll be the signal for us to break. All right.
Yes. No, absolutely. Wait, hold on. 1 minute mark. So we've got 60 seconds now till hopefully another horn out here.
What if the
soon.
horn doesn't play? We just have to go anyway.
If the horn doesn't play, then we just break, and it's a sad thing.
By the way, welcome to television, where you're like, oh, I got 30 seconds to say this.
45 seconds now.
Hey, listen to the Daily Score podcast with Mark Grote, by the way. Just want to say that.
Yeah, that's a really good
Produced
thing
by
that
our
you should
friend
do.
Ray Diaz.
You should check that out. And the
By
Take
the
the
way-
North podcast as well. It's another good podcast if you like bear stuff.
And
actually,
whatever
if you
else
want
Grote is
yeah.
doing.
we dropped the interview with Tevin Jenkins between Grote and Wiederer on the Take the North podcast feed, so check it out there.
And we're going to hear a little bit of Tevin Jenkins coming up in the next segment, because why not? Bears, what we got, 15 seconds or so? Well, I don't want to lay completely out. I mean, I want to wait.
Wait, did
Oh
we
no,
just...
I think he dropped.
I think his battery died.
Sorry, guys. Here, hold on. Stand by. Lost you. Hold on. Here we go. Ready? Oh, it hit 0. Okay, hold on. It hit 0, and now they're playing beyond the whistle. Hold on a second. There it is.
Yeah! Woo! Bears.
Oh, Bears.